Hey folks, welcome into the News 12 Now Desk. Thanks for joining us here on this Thursday, May the 25th, just after 11 o'clock here on our Thursday. Got a nice day today. It's a good one outside, so if you're getting out, pretty good day to do that. We do have some graduations that we are talking about today. We'll get to those in a little bit. First, though, we want to talk about what's going on with the city's cyber systems here. So the FBI confirms they are investigating the ongoing cyber issues impacting the city of Augusta. What they call unauthorized access has crippled many of the city's computer-related operations for the second time now in just a week. Now we're learning more about the full extent of that problem. Our Craig Allison breaks down what's working and what's not. So we'll play this story and then we'll come back. We've actually got the full interviews here from these city officials that we talked to. So we'll go ahead and play those right after.
Now, while the city of Augusta has not given an update yet from their end of things with this cyber issue, we went department to department to see how it's been affecting different areas. With Augusta Utilities, you can still pay your bills online or even by kiosk. But for others, it's better safe than sorry to make those bill payments in person. For Augusta Utilities, their payment systems are still working in person and online, and they won't shut off your utilities or hold fees against you. They just have no idea if you may have over or underpaid.
Well, the first thing that affected us the most is the inability for us to get into our billing software, which is all the detailed data on everybody's account and how much they owe and where they're at in the billing cycles.
For the tax commissioner's office, car tag renewal and vehicle registration is still up and working online, in person, and by kiosk. But they say you have to come in person to make payments on property, personal, or business taxes.
We were able to redeploy those at all three offices and continue to process, but because we don't have as many of those, we can't do it as quickly as we normally would. But we are still able to process.
For animal services, their system is almost completely shut down and are running things with manual paperwork. This means that animal control can take your call, but their 24 Pet Connect website is at a standstill.
There are many lost dogs that have come in that are not listed on the website. And because of that, we would recommend that anyone who's currently missing their dog or cat come down to the shelter to do a physical walkthrough and see if their pet is here.
The probate office did have to close at noon due to technical difficulties. This is the office that deals with marriage licenses and gun licenses. And while we are still processing this latest development with the FBI's investigation into these cyber issues, we'll continue to keep you updated as more information comes in. In Augusta, Craig Allison, on your side.
Okay, so that was the story, just kind of give you an idea with what's going on. But now we'll go ahead and play the full interviews from those three people that you just heard from there. That was Steve Little, who is with the Augusta Utilities Department, Director of Finance there, Chris Johnson, the Tax Commissioner, and then Becky Reese, who's with Augusta Animal Services. So those will run them for a little bit, and then we will come back and talk about our next thing.
You know, we got hit with cyber issues, and of course, from the city end, we're still just checking back in to see what it is that caused that. But more importantly, we want to go department to department, understand how y'all have specifically been hit and what immediately people should know when it comes to registering cars, tags, and taxes of that nature.
Sure. So two pieces. The first is the attack itself. Obviously that part is still under investigation, so we don't know all of the details of the who, the how much, what exactly was attacked. Those things are still being investigated, and as we know more, certainly we will communicate more, not only to the citizens of Richmond County at large, but also specifically those who utilize the tax commissioner's office. Operationally, the things that you need to know, we are still operating. All three offices here at the municipal building, as well as our office located on Peach Orchard Road, and our office located at the Washington Road next to Publix. What we were able to do is work with IT and utilize some of the resources that we acquired during COVID when people couldn't come into the office to operate remotely. What we've done is taken some of those laptops, and we're able to actually continue to process your motor vehicle payments for registration and title related issues, as well as pay your property taxes. Now it's a little slower because again, this is a workaround, but you are still able to do those things, and we are still taking payments.
Gotcha. So is there any sort of delays or late fees that people could experience with this kind of slowdown? Or?
So last week for a day and a half, we could not open and we could not process. And there were people who tried to come in at that time. If for some reason a late fee was occurred at that time, certainly we will waive that and allow you to make your payment as though it were actually today. So we'll take care of any time that we weren't processing, anyone who incurred a late fee or any type of additional fee as a result of that, we'll waive that.
Gotcha. And is it more manual on y'all's end? I know we talked with at least public safety departments, and they've had to get to a more paperwork kind of emphasis rather than on the computer. I'm just curious if any of those systems are getting to y'all and like what that means for people coming in.
No, we're still on computer. It's just that we can't use our desktops. But what we were able to do is take the laptops that we had, redeploy them in a limited amount, because we don't have as many of those as we have hard drive, as we have desktops. But we were able to redeploy those at all 3 offices and continue to process. But because we don't have as many of those, we can't do it as quickly as we normally would. But we are still able to process.
Gotcha. So big emphasis is come in person to utilize these offices and services that y'all offer.
Sure.
And the second thing is just expect some delays with resources put out.
And unfortunately, because of the telephones as a part of the network, we're not able to take the calls, but certainly if you come to the office, any question that you may have, we've got a team who's waiting at the door at each facility to talk to you, to answer any questions that you have, and certainly do any processing that you would normally process here at the office.
All right, Mr. Johnson, you've been great clarifying just what it's been like for y'all in the past week and what resources are available, and to know that things are up to speed though with all y'all's services. Is there anything else that you'd just like to emphasize to Augustans who need to file their taxes, register, tax season being over, but you know what I mean in terms of utilizing the services in your office?
No, just be a little patient with us. Like I said, it takes us a little longer than it normally would. I'm confident that the city as well as our office will be back to normal in the near future. I know that our IT department, as well as those assisting our IT department, are working hard to get us back online, and that's going to happen at some point in time. But until that time happens, the tax commissioner's office is still open, all 3 offices. We're still processing, and anything that we were able to do, we can still do. We still can do some things limited online. You still can do some motor vehicle processing online, maybe a little bit more challenging with the property because some of that was on the network, but you still can do some motor vehicle processing online. We still have kiosks that are available at our South Augusta location, as well as the Kroger on Washington Road, but we are still processing at the tax commissioner's office. Please come in. We're going to take care of you. Maybe a little slower, but we're going to make sure you're taken care of.
I do apologize. I'm just not as knowledgeable on the kiosk. What is that service?
So the kiosks are used for vehicle registration. So if you only have to register your vehicle, you've already registered before, and it's for vehicle renewal. You're registered and you want to renew your, get your updated tag. Then all you have to do is go to one of the kiosks. Cost you $1, and rather than waiting in long line, you just go through the kiosk and register your vehicle or renew your vehicle.
Gotcha. Anything else?
No, tax commissioner's office is open and serving, and we look forward to seing you.
I got hit with this cyber issue last week, and just department to department, everybody's got different things that they're trying to deal with and help people understand that use these vital departments throughout our city. So I'm just curious from y'all's end, how have you been affected, and what do you think people should know right away?
Well, the first thing that affected us the most is the inability for us to get into our billing software, which is all the detailed data on everybody's account and how much they owe and where they're at in the billing cycles and things like that. And the problems with being able to credit people's payments to their accounts properly. We've had a manual process for that. But the other thing obviously we're concerned about is the issue with people making payments that may not be in the system yet, and making sure that they don't have penalties, making sure that they don't get cut off. So we've made sure that if we are not applying penalties, and if anybody has a penalty that comes about because of this, we'll take it off the account, and we're not cutting anybody off for lack of payment over the next, starting with last week and all the way through this week, and possibly even another week, just to make sure we can get caught up afterwards. So.
Gotcha. Do you think that y'all could, like, and this is just a worst case scenario, sustain it longer than 3 weeks, or at that point does it become a, hey, we're going to manually send y'all what you need to owe, or something along those lines?
Yeah, well, I haven't really thought through that enough to know if we were out that long, but you know, we could sustain things for quite a while this way, and we would have to manually track a lot of things and then go back into the system afterwards and put it in. I think the main thing that we want to make sure is that people have the ability to, the most important thing is make sure nobody gets their water cut off, and that people want to make payments, that we're there to do that. And so we've got a kiosk that's working so that people can make payments through the kiosk that's located at Walker Street, and you know, customers that walk in can make payments. People can actually come in and talk to us about their accounts at both locations. The only issue there, of course, is that we can't pull up their account information and look at it, so we don't have a lot of information for them. But if they have concerns or questions or something that we don't necessarily need to look at the system, we can still at least help them or walk it through with them. And you know, they'll be able to make payments online. That's still available, and we will be able to have phone payments. They can call in, and we can work with them and give them a phone number that they can call where they can do phone payments as well. So we can handle it for a while, and there'll be a lot of catch-up work to be done afterwards, but we should be able to handle it. So.
Gotcha. And with the suspension period, for the lack of knowing the exact amount that people might owe on their particular bill, if they're not paying it right now due to a lack of knowing what the exact amount is, does that then carry over when the system does reboot up?
Well, I think the problem that would occur is that they probably know the amount. If they have their stub, they know the amount that they owed from the last bill, and since it only bills once a month, they should be good for quite a while. But what we'd be very careful about the fact that if somebody, perhaps like you say, came in and paid $50 but they owed $75, which would then carry a balance forward, which would then put them in a position where they may be delinquent. We're going to be watching that very carefully in the future, by making sure that nobody is affected by that, so that if they made a payment but didn't know how much to pay, paid too little, they don't get cut off in the future or get penalties. So we'll have procedures in place to take care of that down the road.
Gotcha. And then online versus in person, I know that y'all said different things to me earlier about what is accessible online, what is accessible in person, in terms of like card payments and bills. So I just want to like touch base on that again.
Yeah, through the kiosk actually takes cash and credit cards, so, and checks, I believe. So, and the online, of course, you can only pay by credit card or ACH. So you can, or by phone, you can type in your account number, your bank account number, and make a payment directly out of your account, or you can use credit card. And in person, obviously, you can do everything at this time. So.
Alrighty. Thank you so much for just taking time. I know it's probably hectic in terms of dealing with that. Is there any sort of like slowdown traffic with computer systems? Have y'all had to use any backups at all? Or?
Well, as far as computer related, since the city's entire network is down, we're limited to, a lot of the information we usually would be working with are on shared drives that we pull up our documents and things like that. So we don't have a lot we can do there, but we can use the software like Office to do some things in the background, but we're very limited to what we can do. And we are trying to get a workaround to get access to the billing software as we speak, but it's difficult and time consuming, and we may find out that the network's back up before we can actually get a workaround to go in behind and try to get access. But we're looking at a lot of different things, but for right now we don't have the ability to access any backup data right now.
Gotcha. Like what I meant by that was, and that was very insightful. I just meant in terms of like with the tax commissioner's office, their desktops aren't working, so they had to deploy laptops around to their different county offices. I'm just curious on like a physical basis, like with the offices here, is there any sort of like, we're limited in the physical amount of computers, which might create slower foot traffic in the office at all?
Oh, no, we aren't limited to, I mean, our computers are working fine. The problem is we just don't have access to the network, which means most of the softwares we use are not available. So the desktops are working. We actually have some backup laptops from COVID. We set that up. So we are going to be using some of that stuff to help us a little bit so that we can take calls remotely. But other than that, yeah, we haven't had any real issues hardware-wise. It's been mainly just software and network.
All right, thank you so much for just talking me through this and explaining it out so that people can know what to do moving forward. Is there anything else that you'd just like to emphasize in this time where people are just going to be throwing a lot more questions out?
I think I just want to make sure everybody knows that we're going to take care of them. If they have any issues, if anything occurs, if they have any penalties, if anything happens, just call. We will be very flexible. We're going to work with everybody, obviously, because we know it's beyond their control. And so just rest assured that we're going to make sure we take care of it in the end. All right.
Thanks. We've been hit by this cyber issue all across Augusta, Richmond County, and we're just learning about the different ways that these different departments have been affected. Mm-hmm. And so I'm just curious how it's been going for y'all in terms of operationally, and then what do y'all believe people should be aware of and know while things aren't running up to standard?
Yeah, here at Animal Services, some things haven't changed. We're still providing the same care for the animals as we always do, but there are some changes the public's going to notice. The biggest one is our website, which is 24petconnect.com. Typically, we use that to update with our system all the lost animals and all the adoptable animals. But because the computer systems have been out, the website is currently several days out of date. So there are many lost dogs that have come in that are not listed on the website. And because of that, we would recommend that anyone who's currently missing their dog or cat come down to the shelter to do a physical walkthrough and see if their pet is here. Also, it has impacted our adoption side, where on the adoptable list, there are some animals who have already been adopted. There are also many, many available for adoption that aren't currently on the website. So if you're looking to adopt, we would recommend you just come down to our center here on Mack Lane, ask a staff member for a walkthrough, and see what great dogs and cats we have for you.
Alrighty, and then operationally, anything noticeable in terms of like working via computer, taking calls? Has it kind of slowed things down at all? Or?
Yeah, there are definitely some difficulties with our phone system where calls might not get routed the way they're supposed to, or you might not get through the way you ordinarily would. And if that's happening again, we really apologize for the inconvenience, but it may be easiest if you just come down to our shelter and speak to someone in person. And also, if you do choose to adopt while our system's down, everything is pretty normal. You're still able to fill out your adoption paperwork and bring the pet home with you same day. But because we're not able to give you any paperwork right now, you would have to come back in a couple days and pick it up, or we could mail it to you. Whatever's most convenient for you.
Alrighty, you've been great. I just came here just on a whim, just to make sure I check in with all departments.
Yeah.
Taking time just to talk with me and fill me in.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you'd just like to emphasize about operating or just pet care in terms of loss of found or just anything?
Yeah, I mean, even though the systems are down and the internet may look a little stale, I promise you we are still here. The animals are still here. Your lost pet might be here, or the next pet for you might be here. So we definitely recommend you just coming down and checking things out for yourself.
So there you go, hearing from some city departments on these systems being down, and it sounds like the common thing is they can still serve you. It's best to just go in person or through one of these kiosks that they were talking about. But hopefully the systems get up and running soon and we don't have to worry about this for too much longer. Okay, let's talk about some graduations. Graduation season is here, and as seniors walk across the stage to get their diplomas, the big question is what's next? Our Taylor Martin stopped by Cross Creek's graduation last night at the James Brown Arena and talked with a couple seniors down there.
Well, these graduates have big goals and, most importantly, plans to achieve them. While a number of today's graduates were headed to trade school and some joining our armed forces, I spoke with two who tell me college is their next step.
It's the walk they'll remember for the rest of their lives.
Yeah, I'm nervous too, but it's the big day. I'm really excited.
So I feel happy, kind of nervous, but still happy.
As they walk across the stage, they're walking into college and then to careers in need.
I want to become a psychiatrist.
For valedictorian Candace Rogers, behavioral health is in her future, and the numbers predict shortages in half of the behavioral health professions by 2035, including adult and child psychiatrists. It's a gap Candace is willing to help fill.
Since I had a whole bunch of death in my family the past few years, I wanted to be able to help people with mental health issues in order to combat that.
But for Markel Pyatt, the U.S. Bureau of Labor and Statistics projects growth for his career choice with an employment increase of nearly 10,000 jobs.
I plan to attend KSU for this engineering program, so I'm planning to be an electrical engineer.
For both graduates, it's been a long journey, all leading up to this moment.
It was hard, but I learned I need to study a lot more in order to be able to take on what I am now, Victoria.
Really, 12 years, all comes down to this day.
Today, the room at the James Brown Arena was full of proud families with so much energy for these graduates. And graduations for both Richmond and Columbia County continue in tomorrow and Friday. And we want to say congratulations to all of the 2023 graduates.
Absolutely. And this is a special group that's graduating this year. 3 years ago, when they were freshmen in their spring semester, COVID hit, and it really took their whole world by storm, kind of flipped everything on its head. They had to watch these seniors with their drive-through graduations and their virtual graduations and all this stuff, wondering if that was going to be the future for them. Thankfully, it was not. We were able to get things back to normal here. This class defying the odds in more ways than one, and our Alyssa Lyons went out to Harlem's graduation yesterday to talk to some of them.
No matter where you were, you'll most likely never forget school shutting down, then transitioning to online, only to be brought back into the classroom. Butler and Harlem students will never forget it. These students behind me that are about to walk across the stage will never forget it because they were there and they're all the better for it now.
Honestly, at the end, I think it's all going to come out in tears. I think I'm going to cry. I'm definitely going to cry.
Seniors walk to the stage with a confidence they've spent 4 years building.
I didn't really actually start high school until like maybe my junior year because we got kicked out freshman year, and then we were like kind of in and out of high school my sophomore year.
And like walking is as simple as putting one foot in front of the other, their high school journey has been anything but.
Knowing that we wouldn't have that exact same 4 years as everyone else before us had, it was kind of sad to me. I wanted that full high school experience.
High school is already hard. Try adding COVID to the mix.
I honestly thought that we were going to have to do what the class of 2020 did, which was drive by and pick up our diplomas. But COVID taught me to be patient with myself and to be patient and to work way harder than I've been working.
They didn't brave the COVID wave alone. They had hundreds of teachers with them every step of the way.
Them having our back, it actually made high school a lot easier to get through, especially my teacher, Ms. Raker. She made high school for me, even though I was online for part of it, she made high school for me way more fun.
Today, they crossed the string on the cap, looking back together. Now, more than 270 students will soon cross the stage behind me to get that coveted piece of paper, a little less expensive than the one that they'll get after college. But hey, you know, COVID aside, you know, I asked them 50 years down the line, what are they going to remember most? They said that region football championship and that state baseball championship just last Friday night.
Exciting times for those seniors. Thank you, Alyssa. So what we'll do now, we have the full sound with those seniors that you just heard from in those two pieces. It'll run about 7 minutes, so we'll play that, and then we have some more news on the other side when we come back.
How exciting is this, right? So fun.
It's exciting and also very scary. Yeah, and nerve-wracking, definitely nerve-wracking.
Like, have all these different emotions. How do you kind of like put that all into 4 years of just words, you know?
Honestly, at the end, I think it's all going to come out in tears. I think I'm going to cry. I'm definitely going to cry.
So you guys are the first, full, COVID class, you know, freshman year. It's kind of started off a little janky. Like, wasn't that when, it was your freshman year where you guys were kind of sent to online learning, right?
Yes.
So to kind of just see how much adversity, like, your classmates and you have kind of overcome, what does that mean to you?
To me, it was actually I was kind of sad when we went online, and knowing that we wouldn't have that exact same 4 years as everyone else before us had, it was kind of sad to me. I wanted that full high school experience.
But to like see it kind of come to fruition where some seniors didn't get the chance that you're getting tonight, you know, you probably didn't think of that when you were a freshman that this could not happen, but to see it happen today, what's that?
Yeah, I honestly thought that we were going to have to do what the class of 2020 did, which was drive by and pick up our diplomas, but now that we're actually in the James Brown Arena, I am super excited.
What did you learn from all those different experiences?
COVID?
Yeah.
COVID taught me to be patient with myself, and to be patient and to work way harder than I've been working.
What does it mean to have like the teachers here that kind of went through that with you and see you guys kind of like overcome all this adversity?
Them having our back, it actually made high school a lot easier to get through, especially my teacher, Ms. Raker. She made high school for me, even though I was online for part of it, she made high school for me way more fun.
So there's still some, you know, bright spots. What are you going to remember most about this class, you know, 50, 70 years down the road?
I'll probably remember my freshman year the most. It was the most fun I've had.
Is this to graduate?
It's exciting after like 13 years, but I'm also very nervous. I don't know why I'm nervous, but I'm sad to leave high school, honestly.
What did you learn in your 4 years? I mean, you guys started off with COVID, so to even get here is kind of crazy.
Yeah, I didn't really actually start high school until like maybe my junior year, because we got kicked out freshman year, and then we were like kind of in and out of high school my sophomore year, and I don't remember 90% of it. It was all a fever dream, I'm gonna be honest.
You still good?
All right, we good.
Okay. When you kind of look back like 50 years from now, what are you going to remember most about your high school experience?
Probably all my friends and stuff and my teachers. The teachers at Harlem are very awesome. I love them, and I hope they keep doing great for future generations.
Yeah, how much did you rely on teachers like to have their support, especially during COVID?
So much. Like I kept having to go back, double check everything, and I'm a perfectionist, so I would like make sure everything was perfect before I turned stuff in. Like, is this right? Is this okay? But they were there, always there to support us, and I respect them.
Okay, so you guys are the state championship class too, so like how exciting is that?
I'm proud for my classmates to be part of the state champions. And I got some of them to sign my yearbook, so my yearbook is probably going to be one of the most valuable things I have in 20 years.
You good? You good? What are your plans for after graduation?
Well, I'm going to AU. I plan on majoring in psychology, but I definitely want to do, I'm not completely sure on what I want to do, but med school is definitely the route I'm going to go.
You're graduating today.
So I feel happy, kind of nervous, but still happy.
What are you nervous for?
So since I'm valedictorian, I have to speak in front of everybody, so it's kind of nerve-wracking.
Yeah, but how does it feel to be valedictorian? Tell me about all the hard work you did to get to this point.
So since I started taking advanced classes when I was in 9th grade, and once I started like working up to get the confidence to take dual enrollment classes. It was hard, but I learned that I needed to study a lot more in order to be able to take on what I am now, valedictorian.
Yeah, and tell me about what you learned about what the importance of hard work during that journey.
So from middle school, I didn't have to study that much, but then once I got to high school, I learned I really needed to study in order to make the grades I wanted to make. So I learned that in order to earn my goals, I had to make sure I put in the work in order to see my outcome, the great outcome I want to have.
Yeah, and what are your plans after graduation?
So I plan on going to the University of Georgia to study in psychology or management information systems.
And what do you want to do with that degree?
So if I end up doing psychology, I want to become a psychiatrist.
And why are you choosing that route? You know, do you feel drawn to it or what?
So since I had a whole bunch of death in my family the past few years, I wanted to be able to help people with mental health issues in order to combat that.
And anything else you want to add about graduation? Anybody you want to thank? Actually, what extracurriculars did you do in school if you did any?
So I was the vice president of Bible Club. I was cheerleading co-captain for 2 years. I was one of the presidents for DECA. Sorry. I was a part of FLAIR, which is the honor society for that. Sorry.
That's good enough. So tell me, anything else you want to add? Anybody you want to thank?
So I want to thank my parents, my sister, and my cousin sisters, and all my family from New York to South Florida.
And again, you're graduating.
I know, I'm excited. I'm nervous too, but it's the big day. I'm really excited, but yes, 12 years ending. Yes,
Tell me what it took to get here for you.
a lot of hard work, dedication, getting work done on time, just keeping up with classwork. That's really it. Just turning in and get good grades on it. You know, it's simple.
And what are your plans after graduation?
I plan to attend KSU for this engineering program. So I'm planning to be an electrical engineer. So yeah, that's my plan.
Awesome.
Yes, ma'am.
And is there anything else you want to add about graduation? You know, about your journey, what you're looking forward to?
I'm just looking forward to crossing that stage, getting that diploma. That's all.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Anybody you want to thank?
My mom, for sure, definitely. She supported me all throughout my whole life, really. 12 years, all comes down to this day. Yes, ma'am.
Awesome.
So, yes, ma'am.
What did you do during school? Any extracurriculars?
Yeah, I played baseball, and that's it for the school. So, yes, ma'am.
Okay.
And I also did dual enrollment. So, yeah.
So you already have some college.
Yeah, I do. Yes, ma'am. College credits. Yes, ma'am.
Very good. Congratulations to all those seniors that we talked to and the many more who are going to graduate throughout the rest of the week. And of course, in South Carolina, beginning of June, I think it is 7th, 8th, and 9th, I believe, for our Aiken County schools. There's more graduations today in Georgia going on right now, actually. We had West Side this morning. That was at 8 o'clock at the James Brown Arena. Laney's going on right now. Started at 11. That's also at the James Brown Arena. And then Grovetown was also this morning at Evans Town Center Park. That one was at 9:30. We've got JBA graduations all day. We've got Hepzibah at 2, Josie at 5, A.R. Johnson at 7, and then on the Columbia County side, we've got Lakeside at 6:30. So a full day of graduations in both of those counties. And if you're heading out to either of those spots, James Brown Arena downtown or the Evans Town Center Park out there in Evans, just be aware there's probably going to be a little bit of extra traffic as people are excited to be seeing their students graduate, as they should be. Okay, high schoolers though, not the only ones graduated. We got to shout out our college grads as well, and one very special grad from Augusta University who wants to combine her two loves, cell molecular biology and music. So Christine Diaz has more on that.
When she's not holding a sign, she's wearing a sash. Augusta University graduate Alexis Izani is Miss Garden City and a physician scientist in training.
I hope to work as both a physician, hopefully a neurologist, helps with the brain, and work in the clinical settings with laboratory work as well.
She says the pageant and scholarship program paired perfectly with her schooling.
My community service initiative is neurodegenerative disease. I did a lot of Parkinson's disease research, published a few papers.
Access! Less than a week after graduating, Alexis was back in Atlanta advocating for early Alzheimer's treatment drugs.
It's very important for the young voices to come together and speak about these matters.
She also communicates through music.
I've been a piano player for as long as I can remember. I started when I was around 5 years old.
Studies have shown music can improve mood and cognition in people with neurodegenerative diseases. So, along with her major in cell molecular biology, Alexis plans to use her minor in music to help her future patients.
There's a lot of music therapy that I've been looking into that really helps with people expressing themselves, and it helps with brain function.
A future as bright as her smile in a field that needs more young minds.
I'm very much looking forward to that next step in my life.
And I know I keep saying congratulations, but can't say it enough. Congratulations to her and all of the graduates who are finishing up their high school and college careers, whether it be last week, this week, next week, whatever. We're happy for all of them, and best of luck to all they do in the future. Alexis says she'll decide soon about where she's going to attend school for medical training. First, though, she's going to compete in the Miss Georgia competition next month, so she has got a busy schedule ahead of her. All right, let's move on here to some news that just came down here in the last few minutes or so. Governor Henry McMaster has signed the 6-week abortion bill into law. Now, it's something we've told you about for a while now. The the Senate passed it, and then the House came back for special session, sat there and debated for 23 hours, and then they made some changes, or they passed it in the Senate, and then pass it on to the governor. So it's kind of been going back and forth. But South Carolina basically had one of the least restrictive abortion laws in the Southeast. As of before today, it was legal up to 20 weeks. You could get an abortion in the state. And that led to what many called, South Carolina to be what many called the abortion destination of the Southeast. And we saw those numbers really spike with out-of-state patients coming to South Carolina to get abortions. It was almost 40% of all abortions in the state were out-of-state patients. So the House Congress tried to change that, and or the State Congress, tried to change that, and they got that bill passed into law today. So to give you a little refresher, here is our State House reporter Mary Green's story she did yesterday, and then we'll kind of get into what happened today.
After the state Senate gave final approval to the 6-week ban bill Tuesday night, it now awaits the signature of Governor McMaster, who has said he'll sign it into law as soon as possible.
I think we've got the opportunity now with the governor's signature on the fetal heartbeat bill to make a difference in the lives of many, many thousands of preborn children in South Carolina.
The bill bans most abortions in South Carolina after fetal cardiac activity is detected, typically around 6 weeks into a pregnancy. That's why supporters often refer to this as a heartbeat bill, and it's the same restriction that's currently in place in Georgia. South Carolina's bill allows limited exceptions to save the mother's life for sexual assault victims, and when the fetus has a fatal anomaly that would prevent it from surviving outside the womb.
The exceptions are already extremely problematic and really don't help anybody if they have survived a rape and incest and have to have that reported to local law enforcement. That is not a safe or reasonable position for survivors to be in, and it's going to put them at more risk.
Until the new restrictions go into effect, abortion is illegal in South Carolina before about 20 weeks into a pregnancy. That's one of the least restrictive abortion laws in the Southeast, and data from DHEC shows many more residents of other states are coming here for the procedure now compared to a year ago.
It certainly ramped up the urgency, and a lot of people called South Carolina and the most liberal law in the Southeast the abortion destination state of the Southeast.
But opponents of the bill say South Carolinians will still do what they believe they need to do to get abortion care, which could put them in danger, while putting doctors in a bad position too.
This bill is incredibly confusing and hard for doctors to comply with. And unfortunately, what that's going to result in is doctors looking at their lawyers before they provide health care to people.
Planned Parenthood says it'll file a lawsuit against this bill once the governor signs it into law. After that, a court could temporarily block the law or let it remain in effect as the lawsuit works its way through the legal system. This new legislation is similar to the state's former 6-week ban that South Carolina's Supreme Court struck down in January. Reporting from the State House, I'm Mary Green.
And Republican supporters say they're confident this bill is different enough from that former one that Mary just mentioned for the court to uphold it, but opponents say it's fundamentally the same restriction that's already been deemed unconstitutional. Now, again, the governor has signed that bill into law effective immediately. Planned Parenthood has said it'll file a lawsuit. Its previous challenge to South Carolina's former 6-week ban resulted in the state Supreme Court ruling it unconstitutional in January, as you heard Mary say there. So this is not the end of this discussion, but kind of the next step. And Governor McMaster said today, quoting here, "With my signature, the Fetal Heartbeat and Protection from Abortion Act is now law and will begin saving the lives of unborn children immediately. This is a great day for life in South Carolina, but the fight is not over. We stand ready to defend this legislation against any challenges and are confident we will succeed. The right to life must be preserved, and we will do everything we can to protect it." So that's coming from the governor as of today. So we'll have to see what all comes out of that, but that's where we stand right now. I think that pretty much wraps us up here. We've got midday coming up in just a little bit. First, though, as always, we got to mention, subscribe to the new YouTube channel we've got going on here. Let's take a quick peek at how to do that. If you come over here to YouTube and you search WRDW News 12, click the wrong thing. That'll take you to this right here. You can click that, and then the subscribe button is right over here. So if you go to watch live, this will show you what we're doing right now. Once this ad is over, I'll show you. There we go. That's me skipping the ad on that same stream. So basically what we're doing with the YouTube channel is we've got all of our streaming up there that we do every single day. So we do breaking news, we do top headlines, we do press conferences, we do all sorts of stuff. We bring on guests today, we bring on guests to the show. So today we had Aquinas' advancement director Casey Johnson and their head football coach James Leonard talking about the improvements to the sports facilities that Aquinas is going to be making over the next 12 months or so. So almost $9 million going towards those sports facilities. We did talk with them today. Also tomorrow we're going to be talking to the North Augusta golf team that just won a state championship, beat number one, well they were number one preseason, AC Flora, here at the River Club in North Augusta. So we'll have them on tomorrow. Coach Travis Spears, along with a couple of the seniors, going to be joining us here at the News 12 Now desk. But that's just the kind of stuff we do here on the YouTube channel, and all of our stories, forecasts, everything is up there for you to go watch. So if you don't have time to watch a full 30-minute newscast, that's just an easier way to watch some smaller clips right up there on the channel. Of course, if you do want to watch a full 30-minute newscast, those are live on our streaming app. So you can download our WRDW app on your Roku, your Fire Stick, your Apple TV, whatever your favorite streaming device is. Just search WRDW on there, and it's free to download. That'll have full newscast for you, as well as all the other stuff, I-Team investigations, First Alert forecasts, Aerial Augusta, sports coverage. Everything's going to be up there as well. So those are two great ways to stay in touch with what's going on in the community. That is going to do it for me this morning. I will be back here tomorrow for Friday's top headlines, almost at the end of the week, folks. We can do it. See you tomorrow.